Please welcome from the East Valley Tribune, Mr. Brett Fera. Brett, come on up. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by.
All squared away first.
Yeah, get all hooked up there so we can hear you.
All right, are we good?
Well, let's see. Let's
Sound all right?
Yeah,
All right.
you sound good.
Awesome. That's the goal.
Well, good.
Sound good, look good, work hard, play hard, whatever other cliches we want to chuck out there.
Let's not push it. You sound good. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So what's trending at the Trib? What's going on?
Well, you know, obviously the election, huge week for locally, state, nationally. I mean, just a huge turn of events in the last 4 or 5 days. You know, it's really interesting locally that a lot of the races were probably true to form, what everybody kind of expected. But the big one coming out of just the state of Arizona as a whole was the Senate race between Jeff Flake and Richard Carmona. Jeff Flake from Mesa. So seeing him go in, and it was expected to be a tight race, and he had a pretty big win. And so it's going to be interesting looking forward and seeing what that does for Arizona, having a new senator for the first time in 18 years, and having him from Mesa, and seeing what that does to just raise the profile of the East Valley and Mesa as a whole, you know, on the national level. And it's kind of interesting that you've got the first new senator from Arizona in 18 years. John McCain's obviously the other one, and he's been in that seat since, I think he's 86. Before that, it was Barry Goldwater, who was there since 53. So I mean, it's a very interesting lineage and a very short list that's been in that seat. So in those seats. So to have a local guy do it is pretty amazing. And you know, another big thing this past month, talking about Barry Goldwater, is the addition of or the announcement of the Barry Goldwater library coming to Mesa, and that was kind of a surprise to some of us that didn't see it coming necessarily, but pretty great boon for the city of Mesa as a whole.
Oh, I had not heard that. Where's that going to be?
I believe it's McDonald and First area, so downtown, basically a 9 iron from Mesa Art Center. So that whole downtown area, the redevelopment projects down there, it's going to be a huge part of that. And we've gotten some really interesting feedback where people are like, oh, you need more libraries downtown, or like, this isn't exactly that kind of library. You know, this is more of a museum and showpiece, and really gets to show some of who Barry Goldwater was. I personally think he's one of the more misunderstood politicians of the last half century. You know, we talk about attack ads and all this stuff, and he was one of the recipients of one of the more vicious ones that people remember, and it's I think they call it Daisy, and it's the little girl picking the flowers, and then the mushroom cloud at the end implying that if he's elected president, and he went on to lose pretty handily that year. And but he, like I said, he was in that seat as a senator here from, I think it was 53 or 55 all the way until John McCain, who's had it since. So we're talking, you know, 50 years that 2 people have sat in that seat. So it's pretty amazing. And so to have his artifacts and his life story here in Mesa is pretty amazing too.
Very cool. What else as we approach the holidays? Anything you'd like to?
Yeah, you know, Mesa's obviously one of the big things in Mesa is the temple lights, and at the LDS temple downtown, and that's I think it's the 33rd year. And the interesting thing this year is there's 33 days between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year because of the way the holidays fall, and the lights go on the day after Thanksgiving. I think December 1st. There are concerts every night, and it's definitely I think it's one of the bigger things that maybe not directly has an impact financially or economically on Mesa, but indirectly draws a lot of people from the entire region, and plenty of people from out of state come in to visit and go see it. And it's an incredible display, and the music shows they do are great, and I think that runs through New Year's or so. And if you haven't seen it, it's worth it just to go out there and just sit for an hour and take in the sights. And I think it runs like 5 to 10 every night once it's done.
I have not seen that. I'll check that out. Do you know how many lights they have?
Oh, I don't. I thought about that actually yesterday, and somebody was talking about in the office, and with how big that property is, it's...
They don't have one of those where if one light goes out, they all go out, do they?
I sure hope not. I'd love to see them do one of those commercial things with the music, and you know, where the lights dance on a spectacle that big. That would be pretty amazing too.
Cool.
But,
well, what else is trending? What else you want to share with us?
You know, you guys mentioned aviation fascination and everything going on with the airport, and I know there's going to be more discussion of that later on in the show, but that's a big thing. You know, last month it didn't get a ton of coverage. We covered it a little bit, but there was a symposium over at ASU Polytechnic here in Mesa about the aviation and are the aerospace and defense industries and what they mean to Mesa, and Boeing obviously is a big centerpiece of that. And it was an interesting discussion because it talked about what smaller businesses can actually do to assist the Boeings and the Honeywells and some of the others in the valley to continue to grow that industry as a whole. And so, I mean, if you look at that plus Gateway, what we just heard, and I think we talk about how amazing it's been in the last 5 years to see the traffic at Gateway grow. I can't wait to see 5 years from now. I think it's gonna be pretty amazing. I mean, we were talking earlier, I grew up in the Los Angeles area and at different points was near the Burbank Airport or Ontario or John Wayne, which are all big airports now, but compared to LAX are compact but extremely efficient. And that's what I see Gateway being, is this kind of release valve for the valley where people are really going to see it. If they just come out here once, like you said, they're going to see how incredible of a place that is. So that's kind of a big deal, is keeping tabs on what's new in the aviation industry out here, because it seems like every day there's something else. And you know, just look at the list of sponsors, I think, for next week's Aviation Fascination, and you've got all the airlines, you know, so Spirit, Frontier, Allegiant, Southwest Airlines is part of it, even though they don't fly out of Gateway, they see the value in being there. Boeing, Cessna, I mean, it's a big deal. So we're kind of keeping tight on that, and that's a trending topic every month, it feels like, but something we're keeping an eye on.
Very cool. Well, we're a little tight on time, but tell us a little bit about ASU Polytechnic. Anything?
It's they opened a ton of new facilities this year. I still think it's kind of under promoted, but I think that's part of the plan, is they want to get it built up fully and in place. But as ASU kind of branched out under Michael Crow, the president of the university, his plan over the last decade or so to create these satellite campuses that are real campuses of their own, not just little auxiliaries. ASU Polytechnic's really become a huge deal, and is a great starting point for all the colleges we've got coming into downtown Mesa and Mesa Community College. So I mean, as much as we talk about aviation in Mesa really has the opportunity to be a beacon of education as well. So that's going to be a great thing to see over the next few years too.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you stopping by and telling us what's going on at the Trib. And
thank you for having me.
Filling us in on the trends.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause, Mr. Brett Fera. Thanks, Brett.